Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here today. My name is Greg Hemmer. I'm the head of ecosystem at Shardeum, and today we're excited to take you through another month of great progress on Shardeum's mission to enable decentralization for everyone. Before we get into the presentation, I just wanted to quickly touch upon that mission to enable decentralization for everyone. I've been talking about this a lot lately with different people, and it's amazing how excited everyone is about the prospect of enabling decentralization for people in emerging countries like Nigeria, where the annual inflation rate has hit its highest point in 2 decades at 26%. Everyone in the US and around the world is, focused on the price of Bitcoin and Ethereum and how the market is performing, but it's really amazing that Web3 has the opportunity to help users in emerging countries that are suffering from mass inflation and corruption by giving them access to the US dollar over the internet and having access to a stable coin. But we need blockchains that can keep transaction fees low forever, no matter how many transactions there are. So users in these countries can afford decentralization and afford to use DeFi. And that's exactly what Shardeum's here to do, to enable decentralization for everyone. So today we're excited to take you through our updates from October, where we'll show you progress in marketing, business, people operations, ecosystem, and technology. We're 1 month closer to reaching mainnet. We'll cover the roadmap updates, and really excited today to release Shardeum's white paper. Shardeum's co-founder, Omar Syed, will discuss the white paper. During this presentation, if you have any questions, please post them in the chat, and we'll get to your questions at the end of the call. Without further ado, I'd love to introduce Shardeum's co-founder and president, Nischal Shetty.
Thanks, okay. Hey, everyone. Good to be here. And like Greg said, I think the highlight of this monthly update is going to be the white paper that Omar will be releasing. We look forward to feedback from all of you once you get your hands on the white paper. This month, the month of October has been interesting, and also the last week where we released the new validator update, and we are seeing close to 10,000 people running nodes now on the testnet. It's an amazing feeling to see so many of you helping us test the network, and we look forward to your continued support. We've done pretty well in content this in October. We've had over 750 guest blogs until now, of which over 260 guest blogs for the Shardeum is Borderless program was submitted in October alone. So that was about a 95% increase in the submissions compared to September. We've had contributions from over 45 countries in 35 languages in the Shardeum is Borderless program. And, I would request all of you to keep submitting in your own languages so that we can spread the knowledge of Shardeum to as many people around the world. We've also hit a milestone with our newsletter. We've crossed over 100,000 subscribers on the newsletter, all organic. So thank you so much for referring your friends to the newsletter. Our proof of community has been doing really well. If you remember, we had launched the proof of community backpacking India initiative. And in October, we had the POC in about 12 colleges across 9 states, and close to 1,500 people participated. It's been over 76 days now since the Backpacking India initiative, and we've crossed over 40 colleges in 35 cities with 3,500 participants. Our total proof of community meetups in October was about 19 events in 16 cities across 3 countries, and we had over 1,665 participants. In terms of social, Shardeum Leaks is something we've been uh, really pushing everyone to start their own Shardium communities. And until today, we've had over 56 Shardium leaks. Um, and there are leaks from different regions around the world. Some of the popular ones are Shardium Africa. Then there's a Shardium League in Turkey, Japan, Vietnam, and a lot of other countries. Um, in October, we had a few leaks, such as there's one Shardium Bhojpuri, which is from India. There's Shardium Degen Club, and quite a few other leaks that were created this month. Um, in terms of leaks, I had an announcement to make. We are moving from our quarterly rewards for leaks to a monthly reward system. So this is to push more people to create leaks, and for them to get rewards faster than having to wait the entire quarter. In terms of media, we've had our coverage in various articles on publications such as Benzinga, and then we also had a podcast on Springworks. We were covered on Blog Beats, O'Daily, and a lot of other media publications. Um, we intend to launch in December during the ETH India event. We intend to launch India's largest proof of community event. Um, we've shared the link to that. If you happen to be in Bangalore, please do attend the event. Um, we've also been working on Web3 educational content, and the idea is to promote the knowledge of Web3 to as many people as possible. One of the initiative around that is these quizzes that we are running around Web3 for beginners. That's something that's going to come soon. That's about it for October. Uh, I look forward to your continued cooperation and help in growing Shardeum. Here are some of the metrics that you can see. We've, like I said, the newsletter has been growing at an amazing pace. We've seen some downward numbers in terms of traffic. That's been mostly because our SEO has taken some hit due to an August update by Google, and we are trying to fix that and get the traffic back up. We'll get that soon. I'll hand this over to Kelsey now. She'll update you about the US geography and how we are doing there. Over to you, Kelsey.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone from the US. So we've made some great progress over here that we're excited to share. Our homepage rebrand is live. We'll be releasing the subsequent sub pages in waves, so keep an eye out for that and visit and play with the homepage if you haven't been over there yet. We got coverage in Yahoo Finance yesterday with our release, so that was really exciting. The total US website visitors has climbed to 9.4% of global users. So we're seeing steady growth over there. So please keep up the good work. If you're based in the US, please tell your friends about Shardeum, have them reach out to us, click through our new website, learn something new. As we mentioned before, we had our first ever proof of community in New York City with Qual Wallet, and next one will come up with OKX in early November, so really coming up very soon. We've been working on op-eds to show thought leadership, and we're getting placements in publishing over there, so we'll be sharing those across, and we have more podcasts coming out, including one with Struck Crypto down the line a little bit. We also wanted to highlight that we hosted a great New York Tech Week event with 3XP and Community Gaming, and I participated on a panel there. So we're really excited to participate a little more in the conversation about Web3 gaming. So if you're working on a project, please reach out to us about that as well. And next up, we have Shazad.
Thank you very much, Kelsey. Great to be here and speaking to Team Shardeum. We've had a few very major events which happened to us in the last month. Shardeum was part of Plan B Forum in Switzerland. This is held in a small city called Lugano, and I had the privilege of attending the conference there. What was incredibly interesting to note that a population of 62,000 in a small village in Switzerland has 450 vendors that accept crypto as a form of payment. And the excitement which surrounded the event, despite the storm which was there on both the days of the event, was just incredible. I met teams from various countries there, including El Salvador, who's struggling with 8% inflation, and they have hedged their bets on Bitcoin. So it was extremely exciting to see that it's not only within the US or the Far East, but even in Europe, where this is growing, and Switzerland has become a hub and a center for blockchain, crypto, Web3. Other activities which we did in the last month, we participated in a lot of Ask Me Anythings with communities in Korea, Japan, Turkey. Extremely well-known people who attended, as well as the audience was fairly robust. It wasn't what we would have liked to see, no thousands, but definitely hundreds, and it's growing. So that's something extremely gratifying to learn. We also have started a very important feature for our blockchain, which is the security audits. We have two teams who have already onboarded onto the Shardeum security group, and they have started our audit. So we're looking at understanding, where we have our gaps, lacunas, and things which we need to cement and make sure that we, accomplish what is needed before we go live for mainnet. So this is an extremely interesting phase, and we will keep you posted on this regularly. As part of our infrastructure, we've been working with groups of validators, staking providers globally, and we will announce a list of partnerships with them, probably between 15 and 20 of such groups who would be accessible and available to our community, who can use them as validation node partners. And we want to make this as simple and easy for the community. We are looking at a one-click execution at that end. So even people, who have little to no knowledge of a blockchain are able to execute and validate on Shardeum. So we are extremely excited about that. A couple of things which are coming up in November. We will be there at DevConnect, looking forward to meeting our next set of partners, our existing partners, and new folks in the area in Turkey and Istanbul. We are extremely bullish about that market space and looking to build some good relationships. We are also seeking event partners and local partners in the India Blockchain Week, which is in December, and ETH India. We have our own side event, but we're looking to partner with others who have availability and flexibility. We would love to be part of your show, and we can do it together. That's it from me. Next out is Jeremy, who's our VP of People. Jeremy, over to you.
Thanks, Shazad. So going to go through a quick update of where we stand on the team. As of this week, we just hit a total team size of 56, which, interesting fact, as you know, this time last year, we've now doubled in size since November of last year. We're really excited to add 4 new team members since our last update, all to our engineering team, and we're really excited about the value they're going to bring to help us scale. As always, quite a few technical roles that we're still hiring for in special areas. And, last year, I think I was really harping on our need for bringing on more security engineers. Still a big focus for us, but really want to see the community share their favorite QA engineers that they've ever worked with us. And looking forward to talking to more candidates there. On that note, we'll be hosting a job fair at our ETH India side event in Bangalore. So please come and hang out with us. I'll be there, as will my team. And we look forward to sharing a little bit about what it's like to work on Shardeum. So that's the update for me. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Jeremy. Yeah, if you're attending ETH India, make sure you go see Jeremy if you want to meet the coolest guy in town. Over the past month, Shardeum reached 150 projects within the ecosystem. So it's great to see the number of teams that are making their products available on Shardeum growing. Shardeum's agreement with Axelar has been signed. So Shardeum now has 2 official agreements with Axelar and Layer 0, 2 of the 3 top third-party bridge solutions. It'll be very easy for anyone to transfer assets to and from the Shardeum ecosystem as part of making Shardeum accessible to everyone. It was really exciting to see several of the Shardeum ecosystem projects launch a marketing campaign together with no involvement of the Shardeum Foundation. This was called the Shardeum Stars campaign, and you could check it out on Twitter. It involves projects like Airlift and Ice Cream Swap and Shard Starter and many other of our ecosystem projects. Our partners at OKX participated in 22 of Shardeum's Proof of Community events on its India tour. OKX has a new strategy to go to market in India. And as part of that, they chose to partner with Shardeum to help them go to market in India and create awareness for their product and their brand. So it's really great to see large organizations in Web3, in this case, one of the largest exchanges in the industry, choosing to partner with Shardeum to grow in India. Our DevRel team participated in presentations at Push Protocol's Billion Reasons to Build tour event in Jaipur. And we also gave a Web3 developer masterclass in collaboration with Huddle 01. We're working hard internally on 2 exciting projects. One is called the Developer Boilerplate Repo. This repo will be used during our developer workshops and our hackathons. And it's a repo that developers can fork. It shows the developers all of the EVM RPC methods, what they're used for, and examples of code on how to use those RPC methods. And then it gives you templates for a DeFi app and an NFT minting app, where you can easily learn how to use these RPC methods and use Solidity to build your first prototype application on Shardeum. Shardeum University is a learning platform we'll be launching, where developers and aspiring founders can take courses on Shardeum's website on interesting topics that may be helpful to them, such as tips on how to raise funding in Web3. So really excited to get those projects launched. Next up, we have Shardeum's co-founder, Omar Syed, who will take you through our tech updates, as well as discuss the white paper release.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thanks a lot, Greg. Yeah, so really excited to announce that the Shardeum white paper is ready to be released. I know you guys have been waiting for that for quite a while. I've seen all the memes that you guys have been putting out about how long the white paper is taken to come out, but now, it's here. Looking forward to seeing what new memes you come out with for the white paper now. So, but yeah, it's a little long, longer than most white papers, but I think it's because we had so much to say. Rather like if the project is just getting started, there's not really a lot that you can say. But our project has been in development for a couple years now, and there's a lot that we wanted to cover in that white paper, so it got a little long. But yeah, I think you guys will really like it. Definitely looking forward to the feedback from the community on the white paper as well. And yeah, we've also been continuously making steady progress on the stability of our network. And recently we've got the network running again. There's been times when the network has gone down, and partly because there's like so many new features that we're adding in that rather than trying to do a lot of extra coding to deploy these features slowly, we thought it would be better to just put more features in and then just launch the network that way. So, but yeah, the network is up, and I'm not going to go into the details of the roadmap here. Mark and Andrew will cover that in a minute. But yeah, so that, lot of new features have been put in, and there's a lot more coming up. Looking forward, we've got, patents that we're working on filing, so should be hearing some announcements about that in the future. And then also we've got the Explorer source code. We're going to be open sourcing here soon, so the community will be able to check that out and hopefully help us with making improvements to the Explorer front end and back end as well. So looking forward to the community participating in that. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mark and Andrew, who will get into more details about the roadmap.
Thanks, Omar. Hi, everyone. I'm Mark. I'm the VP of Engineering at Shardeum. And to give a quick update on the roadmap, it's very exciting to see how fast we're moving through the roadmap. We're more than halfway through, maybe 65%. And it's really satisfying to see so many of the, critical, technically difficult projects, being checked off the list. And the team's feeling really good about that. You can see by the slide that's up there now, we've really started moving a lot of things into the green categories, which is either means it's live or it's, done and it's, being scheduled to be released. And even a few of the items that are under in progress are pretty much there and will be in the green category as well very soon. So some of the new projects have been the join protocol v2, the gas estimation, binary serialization, and quite a number of network efficiency and stability improvements. We have data distribution protocol and some RPC projects for EVM methods and RPC local data that are dev complete and are kind of waiting to get their turn to be released. And we have some cool projects starting or in progress. The DAO support projects are kicking off, and we're working towards being able to open source our code. And my personal favorite, the snapshot and recovery system for the network, is coming along really well. And we're all super excited about that. Wanted to mention that we are making discoveries on the network based only on the community participating and being so helpful to us by running validators. And that's allowing us to test things at a larger scale than we normally would be able to. And we're coming out with a lot of good feature work based on your participation. So just wanted to say thanks for that. And I think Andrew's also had some comments on that as well, but I'll let Andrew take it from here.
Sure. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, the community participation has really been awesome for us. And even though we can, spin up tens of thousands of cloud nodes for test, they're all so similar that it still doesn't give us the same test as when we're getting community participating from like all over the world and on different hardware. And recently we released 1.7.1, but over the weekend we were watching that, seeing it get a little rocky, and we're able to go in and figure out some issues. And I think the two things we fixed in the 1.7.2 issue update were both things that I think wouldn't have showed up in the lab for us. So that was great to see. So really appreciate the help there. Also, I just add to some of these roadmap items, the data distribution and RPC local data. I know that's things some of our partners have been really excited about, and I think the community will be interested about. And I know Omar's going to talk more about the white paper next, but I know the white paper's got some nice details on those roadmap items as well, so people can learn more. But yeah, I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Thanks everyone. I guess it's back to Omar now.
Yeah. So just can I don't know what the time frame is for the marketing team to release this, but hopefully we'll be doing this soon. But yeah, hopefully maybe even during this call, somebody can put out the link so people can start checking it out. But yeah, so basically in the white paper, we do cover like some of the tech and the architecture behind the Shardeum network. So, there's a lot of detail in there, but there were some things that we didn't go into, like how it is done, because those are actually things that we're still working on, getting the patents for those. But once those are filed, we will be putting out more white papers that go into the details of each of those different components. Yeah, awesome. So you can see a quick glance of what the white paper looks like there. And then we also go into the tokenomics, and for some of you that have been with the project, that we've had a tokenomics dashboard for quite a while, and it's actually allowed you to play around with various parameters to see how changing the different models for node reward and transaction fees and things like that, how they affect the token supply. We got into a lot of details about our capped elastic supply model in that paper. Yeah, so this is the architecture section. Keep going down. Then you'll start to get into this is still architecture. Keep going down. Yeah. So we get into a lot of the details of, the experiments that we did to, figure out like what kind of a model to use for the tokenomics. And then we also get into the ecosystem and the roadmap of, what's coming up. Yeah, this is still the tokenomics section. Yeah, and yeah, basically, there's a lot of different things that we thought that the community would want to know about. I think particularly like, there's the whole section on governance, and it talks about our plans for how we're going to implement a DAO and transition things so that we smoothly go from, the foundation initially being able to control, the parameters of the network, to then slowly more and more participants getting involved, and then eventually, the whole DAO being able to control the network parameters, such as the node reward, transaction fees, staking amounts, things like that. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the paper, and we're really looking forward to seeing your feedback and whatever suggestions you can provide us. So yeah, thanks. So from here, I think we're ready to take on some questions.
Awesome. Thanks, Omar, for giving an overview of the white paper. While we wait to have a few questions from the community reported to us, I was just curious. So what paper, like the next paper we release, what do you think that will cover?
Yes, those will actually be released by the Shardeum project. They won't be released by Shardeum, but they'll get into the details of the protocols. like how the dynamic sharding works, how proof of quorum in large shards works, so on, things like that. So, but those will probably be after the patents are filed. So, yeah.
Got it. On that topic, one question from the community. How does Shardeum's dynamic state sharding work to achieve linear scalability?
I think we get these questions every time. But yeah, so essentially, dynamic state sharding is a model when you contrast it with static state sharding, where in static state sharding, you take your set of nodes that you have in the network, divide them up into smaller groups called shards, and each shard is assigned a different chunk of the address space to maintain and manage. And in what we're doing is that no single or no two nodes have the exact same address space that they cover. So in Shardeum, every node is scattered across the whole address space, covering different address ranges. But our algorithm ensures that for any given address, you have a specified number of nodes covering that address. So if you want, like, say, 128 shard size, which essentially means that you want 128 nodes covering every single address. So we guarantee that. And then from that, what happens is that as you add more nodes to the network, you are immediately able to have additional nodes participate and contribute to increasing the transaction throughput, or effectively increasing the level of parallel processing within the network. So that, without going into too much detail about like exactly how it does that, that's essentially what it does.
Awesome. That was a great overview. And are there going to be additional upgrades to the Shardeum nodes?
Oh, for sure. I mean, there's a lot more features coming in. Mark and Andrew just showed you the roadmap. But it's like, I think the biggest things that people will notice here is really the stability of the network getting better, and we'll definitely also be like increasing the overall size of the network, just so that we can push it and see what our limits are. We'll also be at some point doing load testing on this network and so forth. So there's a lot of interesting things still coming down the road.
Yeah, it is a really cool story to watch evolve as each release is made. You can see new improvements in the network, and it's really fun to see that, improvement over time through numerous releases. Community members are wondering how the release schedule of nodes today compares to mainnet. Just the frequency of releases we have in the validator software today. What do you think that will be like at mainnet?
Well, once we go to mainnet, things will slow down quite a bit, but we'll have a test net where we're continually doing regular releases. And then, once we're really, really confident that that test net is at a point where we can call it like a stable network, then, we would migrate that over to the mainnet. But yeah, so mainnet would not be seeing as, the rate of changes that we're seeing right now.
Awesome. That's great that it'll be, still putting out releases, but in a more coordinated, scheduled, planned effort.
And that's really why we're trying to pack in as much as we can before we do mainnet, because, there's a lot of projects that like go to mainnet without having completed their, full feature set, and then they continue to add more features while they're in mainnet. But, I feel like that's trying to change the engine on a flying plane, and it gets really complicated and hard, and you're also, putting a lot of people's assets at risk when you do that kind of stuff. So we're trying to get, a lot of the features built in, and then, some of the minor things is what we're going to be like releasing, over time, after mainnet.
Awesome. Yeah, it'll be cool to release a feature complete product that we can experience the benefits of at mainnet launch. Nischal, what's the significance of Shardeum's high throughput capacity?
I mean, we can talk all day about that, but if you look at the entire crypto ecosystem today, I think our growth is limited by the technology that exists, and it's also one of the reasons why the so-called mass adoption has not happened, and why we are facing such a difficult time to move away from only DeFi related products. I mean, if you look around, the largest questions are, when do you get to see the next big gaming application in the decentralized ecosystem, or why aren't any social decentralized social media applications really taking off? And I think the biggest reason for that is the high fees and the low throughput that exists in the ecosystem today. And if we can solve that, I think the biggest impact that we would be able to make is bring hundreds of millions of people onto blockchain, and at the same time give rise to a new set of applications, not just DeFi. Well, DeFi will also get really affordable on Shardeum, but we'll be able to see a lot of these new age applications in gaming, in social, in identity, and a lot of other new verticals, which is, I think, going to really make this ecosystem more inclusive versus being seen as only for financial use cases. So there's a lot of benefit to building a scalable blockchain like Shardeum, which is what is motivating all of us, and I'm sure which is why we've got such a large community which is eagerly waiting for the mainnet, and we are here to make that happen.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see the new use cases that get built on the Ahmad-Me blockchain. Omar, do we have any plans to migrate the Shardeum code base from Node.js to Bun?
I've been hearing more and more about Bun. Actually, one of the early Shardeum team member actually joined the Bun project. But yeah, we haven't really investigated it too much in terms of like, hey, are we, is this stable and ready enough that we can start to, move over to that platform? But it will definitely be something that we look at, once things kind of stabilize a little bit here. We do have plans to do multiple clients in different languages as well. So not just in Node.js or Bun, but we would also do one in, say, like Rust or Go as well. So we definitely are looking forward to doing multiple clients. And, once more of the code base is released, I think maybe even the community can help us with that, where, somebody can start a project to say, like, let's build, the Shardeum client or, validator in Rust or Go or whatever language they like. So
yeah, someone should create an LLM wrapper that lets you just paste in your code for one client and tell it to write another client.
I wouldn't be surprised if we could do that by next year.
Having numerous clients is important to decentralization, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. You want to have as many different potential sources. It's like decentralization is really about like not putting all of your eggs in one basket, and you need to do that at like lots of different levels too, right? So like with the code base, right now it's a little centralized because we're all in just one language, but you want to have clients in multiple languages. Even the servers that we're running, even the community run servers, you want them not to all be like coming from, say, like Amazon. You want them to be coming from lots of different ISPs and hosting companies, and even people running their own validator nodes at home. So there's lots of different areas that you have to think about to make sure that things are decentralized.
Awesome. Really excited to see other Shardeum clients released in the future. Getting a lot of great tech questions today. What happens if one contract gets most of the traffic? Will the network be able to parallelize effectively in such scenarios?
So the developers will actually have to think about those kind of things, because like this question is like saying, well, if I have a supercomputer that has 1,000 cores on it, what happens if I have one program that does something sequentially? Well, it's going to only be able to run on one core, right? So as developers, you guys will now have to think about how can we make our dApps more distributed and able to make use of the parallelism that's provided by the Shardeum network. Previously, dApp developers never had to think about this because, the option wasn't even there. But now that there's that option, the dApp developers will have to think about, well, rather than putting everything going through this one contract, maybe I can split it up so that, I have it across many different contracts. And so that's how you will be able to increase the throughput of your dApps.
Awesome. Nischal, we'll have to come up with a cool name for these parallelized applications, like next-gen Web3 applications using parallelization.
For sure. I saw a question about the reward for running the testnet validators, and I think someone wanted to know if we are saving the previous data since we do a clean deployment often. So the tech team has been taking snapshots of the previous testnets. So we do have that data, and if we work on a reward system, we'll make sure that we use that data. So yeah, Greg, we can go to the next question as well.
Awesome. I think the next question was, why doesn't Shardeum have a wallet of its own? Nischal, do you want to answer that?
I think that question comes from the fact that you get so many new blockchains launching with a new virtual machine, and then devs have to create all the applications, even the basic applications like a wallet from scratch. Imagine if every time a new browser launched, everyone had to recreate their own websites to run on that browser. I think that's the state that our ecosystem is in, and it's not really something that can hold on for a long time. With Shardeum, we chose to use the Ethereum virtual machine simply because we did not want to really break the dev ecosystem that exists, and help people just tap into existing products, which is why you don't really need a native wallet for Shardeum. You can use any of the EVM compatible wallets, and it'll run and there's no new learning curve for you. You're just using your own favorite wallet. You can use MetaMask or any of the wallets that exist. So that's the reason why we don't need really a Shardeum native wallet. And even if you build a wallet for Shardeum, it'll actually be usable on any of the other EVM chains. And I think that's the beauty of the overall composability of blockchains is we need to be able to build applications that can run on multiple chains. And Shardeum is here to be part of that cohesive ecosystem rather than being, a player which is trying to divide the ecosystem.
Absolutely. It's a really cool relationship blockchains have with the EVM. We get a lot of benefit at Shardeum from being able to interact and use the ecosystem of EVM-based applications and users, but the EVM also benefits a lot from us, bringing a lot of new users and developers into Web3 that are now building with the EVM. There's a question about whether there are dApps available that are live today to test. We've gone through periods of time when there have been more than 40 or 50 products live at a time for the community to test. But as we get closer to mainnet, right now we're going through a period where we're very frequently releasing new features, taking down networks, and launching new testnets. And so to avoid asking our partners to continue to deploy and replicate their work on a bi-weekly or monthly basis, right now there are a few applications live, like Ice Cream Swap and Swapped Finance. And once we get to the mainnet release candidate, where we have one testnet that's stable for several months before we launch mainnet, we'll then go all in on asking everyone in the ecosystem to deploy. For now, there will be a few very close key partners like Ice Cream Swapped and Swapped Finance, whose apps you can use on Shardeum. This is for Kelsey. A community member says the new website is looking dope. So great to hear the community appreciates the new website's designs. Omar, here's another great question. How will the node availability be calculated? I'm running the node and it's often waiting for the network and frequently in standby. And they also want to know, will we add up all the time their node was running on testnet and measure that regardless of its status? So I guess two questions. How are we tracking the time nodes are running on testnet? And also in the future, like, how do we determine when nodes go from standby into the active state and calculate the node status?
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything about how we're calculating the amount of time people were running nodes in the test nets, because that might trigger crazy behavior. And like I made the mistake of saying that hang on to your private keys when we first did our Shardeum event. And, yeah, I mean, don't lose your keys ever. I just want to be kind of just generally saying. But yeah, people, you can interpret that how you want. But, like Nischal said, we do plan to, thank the people that have helped, with the network and contributed, during our testnet phases. Now, the details of how we do that, we're not really going to talk about that right now. And then the other aspect is like when we are like in mainnet and nodes are, cycling through a period of time when they're in standby and then a period of time when they're active. You can, if you look at our tokenomics model that we've, put up on the website and also discussed in the white paper, we give a really good reward during the time that the node is active in the network. And that is to ensure that somebody doesn't just like run nodes that are in standby and then, when it's time to go up. And if they were getting paid for that time, then, they could just like turn off that node and not actually participate in the network and then start up another node and put it in standby and so on. And so there's ways to kind of game the system if you try to reward nodes for being in standby. But because we give a really good amount of reward when nodes are active, you can calculate based on the ratio of the standby to active nodes, how often your node will cycle through and get a chance to be active. And so, there's a little bit of gamification to it too. I mean, it's a little bit like, sometimes your node may be active and then it comes out and then it goes active again right away, because you got lucky. Sometimes it'll take longer. But on average, you can calculate that based on like if you had a equal number of active nodes and standby nodes, then you can calculate that 50% of the time your node is going to be active and 50% of the time it's going to be in standby. And based on that, you could calculate that, okay, I'm going to be earning this much when my node is active, and just divide that by 2 to say that, okay, this is the rate at which I'm getting rewarded. And so, based on that, I think people will find that, the reward from participating in the network will definitely be worthwhile. And a lot of the miners and node operators base a lot of what they do on the future appreciation of the token too. So sometimes like the calculations won't work out like right then, and you might be discouraged. But when you consider like the future, appreciation potential for the token, then it works out. Like I ran a Bitcoin, node back in 2011 when the price of Bitcoin was $4, and after 1 week it generated 0.3 Bitcoin, and I said, this isn't worth it because I just spent $350 buying a GPU card, and this will take me 100 weeks to break even just on the GPU card, and so I stopped mining, right? But so a lot of times your calculations may not work out that it looks like it's profitable at the time that you're doing it, but the people who are like dedicated miners and node operators know that their calculations have to include future potential as well. So
great answer, Omar. And just real quick, if someone wants to learn more about this, can they check the tokenomics section of the white paper in our tokenomics webpage?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the tokenomics section of the white paper has a very detailed discussion of how this all works, and on the tokenomics dashboard on the website, you can actually play around and change the numbers and see how things would work.
Awesome. Thank you, Omar. Nischal, any final comments to the community? Omar as well.
I think we are all excited about now, the upcoming release candidate work that is being put into right now, and the team intends to bring that soon. And in the meantime, I think all the help that the community is providing by testing out the testnet is really valuable. In fact, a few days ago, I think quite a few people helped us with reporting the stability issues in the network, and the team quickly fixed it and sent out a hot fix as well, and that seemed to have stabilized the network. So please continue to provide this support, and we'll make sure that we give you a scalable, decentralized network very soon.
Amazing. Thank you to everyone in the community for being here today. If you're here for the next 5 minutes, you will be able to mint a POAP proving your participation in this event. This is the only time you can mint this POAP, and you can do so by scanning the QR code or visiting the link on the slide. Thanks again, everyone, for being here, and we look forward to talking to you in December when we review Shardeum's progress throughout November. Have a great day.
See you.
Bye, everyone.